Hey guys, in today's Tech in 10, we are chatting Google Slides. We're going to give you some tips and tricks for building self-paced lessons and activities for your students. So let's get to it. First step on the agenda is inserting video. I love this feature. It's one of my favorites in Google Slides and can be used for tons and tons of different reasons, but I like to use this to help build self-paced lessons for my students so they get a little bit of a lecture piece, then they practice some, and they get more of that mixture of what a real-life classroom is like versus just reading text and trying to figure out the content themselves. To insert a video, super easy. You access the Insert tab, choose Video, and then you'll be presented with a screen that looks similar to this. You can search YouTube directly in Google Slides. Love that they've built that in. You can copy and paste a URL, so if you already know the video, or you can choose from your drive if you have videos already saved. Just keep in mind, if you choose that option, to make sure that the video permissions are set to on anyone with the link can view. That way, when your students work through it at their own pace, they have access to the video. So an example here for you is a fractions lesson that I have set up for my students. I want them to watch this video to get a little background on what fractions are. This is the first time they've ever heard about fractions and are starting to learn about it. So I want to give them a little bit of cognitive Velcro to get them going and get their minds kind of turning on fractions, because we know how much our students love fractions. And then I've set up directions for them that when they're done, they're going to go to the next slide and answer the discussion question. So I might have this just be the only thing they do that day, just so I can, after that discussion question, see where everybody is and decide how we're going to move forward with learning about fractions with my content, whether it's Eureka, Springboard, whatever it may be. So to insert that video, all I did, give you a live view, insert video, and then I searched fractions parts, because I knew that that was the topic of the Math Antics video that I actually wanted them to use. If I didn't, I could just search fractions, and I could vet through this list and find one that I wanted to use. Once you find what you want, select, and then resize the video to whatever size you want it to be based on what you are teaching or how you've set up the activity that they're going to do with the video. Keep in mind the format options of the video. I had autoplay when presenting, so that's why it started playing right when I turned it on. So up to you on some of those features there. Aside from inserting video, I also love the new insert audio feature. I can download audio files from the internet or make my own and upload them into the slides for my students. If you want to take it to the next level, you can have them actually record audio and turn that in as part of their work based on whatever activity it is you are having them do. So for example here, this is the discussion question that they would go to after they watch the fractions video, and they would have to agree or disagree with the statement above. I'm giving them 3 options on explaining whether they want to answer using text, an audio recording, or screencastify video. Keep in mind, you would need to make sure your students have had some brief training on how to do those videos and recordings if you want them to turn work in that way. And if they have, then they're ready to make those recordings and submit them. If not, that's something that simply you can just do in the meantime. And I've linked up an audio recorder that I use. It's free, no sign-in, web-based. You click the mic to start recording, and you click the stop when you're done, and choose save, and it downloads your file. Add that into your drive, and then you're ready to go to Insert, Audio, and choose that recording. You can drag the icon wherever you'd like. This is indicating that there is audio on the page. I think that he is incorrect, 1/8. And there's also formatting options for the audio, just like the video. So just another way to add some personality and some personability, whatever that vocabulary word I'm trying to say is, to make your slides more relatable for your students hearing your voice, or giving them another option in how they can turn their work in by recording their own. Next up is inserting images. Tons of ways that you can use this feature, but I loved it as a math teacher for my students to insert their work. So you can see that I've actually gone and all I did was insert, image, and I chose the camera tool. And when I did that, it automatically opens my camera on my computer, and I can take the picture right here instantaneously. So I don't have to take a picture on my phone, upload it to my drive, pull it from my drive. I can right then and there get the images I want. Tons of lesson ideas on that, but we only have 10 minutes, so I'm going to keep going. I've linked you a sample real life classroom example of using the camera, but again, just as easy as them turning in their math work from loose leaf paper into the slides presentation. Another reason or way that I like using Google Slides is for choice boards. This one here is an example of a tic-tac-toe choice board. I've also linked this template for you from Shake Up Learning if you want to use it. And you can see to the right, the example is from a novel study for 6th through 12th grade. So these are just some ideas on how you could build out those different choices that they get to do. Another way to kind of use the insert video feature is recording using Screencastify or Screencast-O-Matic or whatever, directions on how this activity would work. So a lot of times if it's not an activity that's done in the classroom before, they need some direction on how that activity is set up. So I've gone and recorded my own, chose insert, chose video, and then chose this video that I pre-recorded of myself explaining the directions to them. So when they go to work on this slide on their own, they can click and hear those directions.
Today you're going to be completing this math choice board on fractions. You're going to start at number 5 where the star is. That one is.
And that gives them a little context to what they're going to be doing coming from me. Speaking of templates and things already set up, if you've never used Slides Mania before, it's going to become one of your best friends. Not only can you get some better templates for Google Slides, so if you like cutesy stuff like me, you'll love that, but they've also gone and set up a lot of distance learning templates. So if you choose the Education tab on Slides Mania, you'll be able to find all of those templates. So they have a weekly planner, a virtual graduation, here's another choice board template. And if you find one that you want to use, just click it and then scroll to find the Get Google Slides theme option. Or you can download it as a PowerPoint as well. So I love that you can get both of those there. So just another option for you in building activities, choice board, tic-tac-toe board, giving your students some choice in their work. Moving right along to Q&A. This is a feature in presentation mode where you can have students the option to ask questions while you're going through a presentation. I love using this one face-to-face too, but even more during this virtual learning time. When you're in presentation mode, find Q&A. You're going to either start new if you've never done one before, that will be the only option, or you can continue a recent and start anew. I'm going to choose start anew. My students will use this link here. I'll post it in Classroom for them. That way they can just click on it and it brings them directly there. And then while I am doing my presentation, they can ask questions using that link. And I can just jump back and forth between the tabs and anything that they are saying will appear here. Keep in mind, other students can see what other students are saying, so there's no approval before it pops up on there. So setting up those digital citizenship rules while we're using a discussion board before you just jump into that without setting up any parameters for them. So just keep that in mind. When you're done, turn it off and go back to your presentation, and that's gone. It does save the questions in the slides presentation for you to go back and look at later. That is under Tools, Q&A History. So if you want to go back and look at that, you have the ability to do that. Next up, and moving closer towards the end of our tips here in this 10 minutes, is closed captioning in Google Slides. This is great for tons of reasons. Accessibility for students, improve student speech and pronunciation so they can actually turn on closed captions and read and see the text dictate on the screen for them. Turn it on when you're making screen recordings with Google Slides or even when you're doing webinars. So very quickly, I'll show you that. Present, turn closed captions on, and as I speak, it's dictating for me. I can change the position and the size, and when I'm done, click it to turn off. Last few things I'll leave you here with. Don't forget that you can convert your Google Slides or your PowerPoints into Google Slides. So don't reinvent the wheel. Making a copy, you can select specific slides. You don't have to take the whole presentation. And then lastly, skip a slide. If you don't want certain slides during a webinar you're going to do, you can right-click, skip slide, and it will hide that slide during your presentation. I know we gave you a lot in 10 minutes. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. We're always here to help and happy to do so. Chat with you next time.